Are you looking for some last-minute Christmas gift ideas and wrapping ideas? Then you are definitely in the right place. I want to welcome you all to CreArtive by Nature, DIYs and Decor. My name is Donna. So today's video is a compilation of some different gift packaging and gift ideas that I have rounded up for you all. I am going to have the timestamps for each project listed in my description box. You just have to tap on the drop down arrow and it will reveal the description box that has all the information needed for your viewing. For our first DIY, you'll need a canvas bag and an SVG file of your choosing. I will have a link to the SVG file that I use down in my description box below. Here I am using my Cricut Joy to cut out some heat transfer vinyl. And then using my Cricut Easy Press 2, I am going to apply the SVG to the canvas bag. I think this saying is perfect for this time of year. So now you can fill this bag up with any treats that you'd like. And I am going to start by just adding a little bit of some decorative shred in the bottom. And then I have got these treats that I picked up from Dollar Tree. They fit inside perfectly. If you're new to my channel, I want to say welcome, and I'd love for you to join my community by tapping on the subscribe button along with the bell to keep up to date with everything I have to share. I'm going to top it off just with a little bit more of the decorative shred just so you don't see the treats popping out from the bag. And then I am going to take some baker's twine and just add a little bit of a decorative element on the outside. You can tie a piece of ribbon or any other added embellishments. You can even add some candy canes. Isn't this just such a fun and easy gift to make? You can customize it any way you choose. You can paint on it or add some stickers, whatever you have on hand. For our next project, I'm going to be making some pretzel bark. This is a family favorite. Start off with a large baking sheet with some parchment paper, line it with some mini pretzels, and then you add your candy mixture. I am going to have the link to the recipe that I use down in my description box, so you can go and check that out. I'm just sharing with you just the basics of how to put it together. So now you're going to drizzle the candy mixture over your pretzels, and you will be left with a few gaps, but that is okay. I'm just going to smooth it out a bit just so I have a bit more better coverage. And then I'm going to be popping it into the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And as you can see, as it bubbles, the caramel spreads out and covers all the pretzels. Here, I'm just spreading out about 2 to 3 cups of chocolate chips so I get good coverage over top of our pretzels. If you like anything like me that's sweet and salty, then you add some coarse sea salt all over the top of the chocolate. And then you allow it to set in a cool place. Once it has set, then you can break it up into pieces. As you can see, this provides a lot of pieces, and this makes great gifts. It's really easy to make, and then you can just wrap it up. Once your pretzel bark is all broken up, then you can wrap it. I placed some in this pretty Ziploc bag, and I'm going to be using these treat bags from Dollar Tree. This makes for a really fun packaging. The kids could make this and decorate for friends, or you could even make this for neighbors. I'm just going to cut down a piece of cardstock to fit the top portion of the treat bag. So I'm going to open up the bag and add some decorative shred to the bottom of the bag. This will just help to cushion your pieces and just add another fun element. And then you can stick the bag of pretzel bark inside and close it up. I am going to use my tiny attacher to close up the bag, but you can use a regular staple. So now I'm going to be adding the cardstock to the top portion of the bag. And I have a special tool here put out by Fiskars where I can score my paper. So I'm just going to find the middle of my paper piece and then put this adapter in and score my paper. You could just fold it in half if you choose. I wanted a nice crisp line. So now I'm going to be using this paper punch border. You could use some decorative scissors such as these, but I chose to use the decorative border punch. So I'm just going to go along both edges and punch out the design. Once your decorative edge is done, then you can attach your paper piece to the top of the bag. Again, I'm using my tiny attacher. And now I'm going to decorate that paper tab. I'm using some decorative tape, some stickers, and some gems. But feel free to use anything that you'd like. And there you have a really delicious and fun gift that you can give to anybody, and it makes a lot all at once. For our next project, you're going to need some kind of a candy. I am using some Hershey's Kisses, and you will need an empty jar with a lid. I am going to fill my jar with some paper shred and the Kisses. Next, you're going to need a foam cone. This one's about 6 inches tall, and a fabric of your choosing. I'm using this piece of scarf that's red and black buffalo check. I'm now going to glue the cone to the top of the lid as shown. I'm now going to be using this faux fur, and I'm going to cut it out to length and then cut the beard shape. I have got lots of tutorials on how to make gnomes, so I will leave a list to that playlist down in my description box below. I share how to make a girl candy jar gnome, so I'll leave that one linked down below as well. So now I'm going to glue the beard to the rim of the jar. It's very important not to glue anything directly to the glass jar. Next, I'm just going to be measuring out where I need to glue my edges together to form the hat. These gnome candy jars are so cute and fun to receive, and they are so easy to make, and they're such a quick and easy gift. So once you've got the size figured out, you can start gluing the edges together, and then you can just trim off the bottom edge of the hat, and then we'll measure out where else we need to cut it to fit on top of the jar. So here I'm just feeling where the rim of the jar is, and then I'm going to cut a slit just up underneath to where that rim is. That will give me the measurement of where I need to trim off the excess portion of the hat. So now I'm going to glue the back side of the hat to the rim of the jar, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to be using a pom-pom for the nose. You could use a wood bead or make your own nose out of some fiberfill and fabric, but I have pom-poms on hand, so that's what I'm going to use. So I add some glue, and then I'm just going to tuck it up underneath the hat, and then I'm going to glue this hat to the sides of the rim. I'm just going in with some of the remnants from the beard, and I'm going to add a little mustache. This is just by choice. You could leave it as is, but I thought he just needed a little bit extra underneath his nose. Now I'm just going to add a few embellishments. I have this felt joy word that I purchased from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to glue that onto the hat. And you could use some wood embellishments, just whatever you have on hand. And then I'm just going to fold over the tip of the hat. I like the casual look that that has. And then I have this pom-pom in my stash, and I am going to glue that to the tip. A little bell would be a cute little addition as well. Here I'm just showing you how easy it is to just turn the lid and pop that off to expose all those yummy treats. This is such a fun gift, and as I said, it is so easy to make. I think it would be a great thing to receive from a neighbor or a friend. Even kids would enjoy receiving this. Let me know down below if you plan on trying any of these DIY project. I have this little wood tray, and it used to have these little wood embellishments in it. I am gonna give this little wood tray a coat of some walnut gel stain, and I'll apply it with a paintbrush and remove the excess using a rag. I've held on to this little tray for a while, and I finally figured out a way on how to repurpose this piece. So I'm going to be using the gel stain all over this little wood box and then allow it to sit and dry. Once it's dry, I'm going to be taking a sanding block and I am going to distress the piece. I want to give this an old country farmhouse rustic look, and I'm going to be incorporating it into my Christmas decor. I thought that this would make a really great and fun gift as well. Now, using a little piece of sanding block, I am going to distress the center of each block. I really want this piece to have an old weathered look to it, as if it's been sitting around for a long time. Then once you're done, you can remove the dust by using a rag and a brush. So for the next part of this project, I've got these wood stems with a nice flat surface and my favorite chalk paint, and I am going to give each end a coat of this chalk paint and then allow to dry. Once each piece is all dry, I am now going to be using a sanding block. This one is a fine grit. I do end up changing to a coarse grit, and I'm going to give each piece an old weathered look. Here I'm now using the coarse sand block, and it really gives a lot more of a rustic feel to the pieces. And I'll just do each individual piece, and you can see here the difference. Once you're done sanding, you can take a rag and just dust off all the debris. Okay, so now for the really fun part. I have this cute little stamp set. I picked it up from Michael's last year. They still do have it. This is what it looks like. I'm going to be using the wreath stamp as well as this snowflake stamp. And then I'm going to be using this archival ink in sepia. You could use other colors. Using the wreath stamp, I am going to give each piece one stamp on one side using the wreath. And then I'm going to flip them all over and then use the snowflake stamp on each side. This is going to be a really fun and whimsical Christmas Tic Tac Toe vintage country style. I love how this looks, and the kids are loving this little game too. Once you're done stamping all your pieces, you're going to give each side a coat of matte decoupage glue. This will help seal it all in. As you can see, using a permanent ink such as archival ink, it doesn't smear, so keep that in mind. Once dry, you can put all your game pieces into place, and then you can feel free to have some Christmas fun. This little piece turned out so cute. Again, my family is loving it, and I'd love to know what you think. So for this packaging idea, I picked up this tin from Dollar Tree, and I got a selection of chocolates here, again from Dollar Tree. You'll just want to put the chocolates in the tin and close up the lid. And I am going to be placing a sticker on it just for a little decorative touch. And then I am going to start to decorate it. So I am just going to cut out this Merry Christmas. I picked up these stickers from Dollar Tree as well, but you can use anything you'd like. I got this tinsel trim from Walmart, and I have a selection of snow and some bottle brush trees and other decorative elements, along with this cute little garden gnome I picked up at a local dollar store. You'll need some wire snips and your glue gun. I'm going to start off by outlining the top of the tin with this tinsel. Here I'm going to use hot glue, but feel free to use any adhesive that you like to use. So next we are going to figure out our placement for all of our decorative elements. And I like to do this before I glue everything into place. I'm going to attach this cute little wreath to the gnome's hand. As you could see, he was lifting up his hand, so I thought that would be a nice little touch. And then I'll just start to, again, use some hot glue and attach everything to the top of the tin lid. Once you have all your elements in place, then you can start to adhere your snow, and that will cover everything else up. So I like to use hot glue, but again, use any adhesive that you like to use. I apply the hot glue into place and then press the snow down. Just be careful you don't burn your fingers. My glue gun is a lower temp glue gun, so I don't typically have an issue with this, but if you do, you can get finger protectors, and I have seen those at Dollar Tree. Here I am just using a bone folder just to push the snow in amongst the trees. Now I am adding these cute little bells. You yourself could use anything you'd like, little presents, little ornaments, little forest critters would be super cute. Okay, so for another cute little gnome wrapping idea, you're gonna use a cylinder container full of treats. You'll need a foam cone, some felt, and a sock. I got this tin of these little wafer cookies. I believe I picked these up at Dollar Tree. It might have been in my other local dollar store. I'm gonna wrap this with some felt and then cut it down to size, as you see here. Next, I'm going to be trimming off the bottom just so I make sure that it's the exact size I need to cover up the lettering. So I'm going to be creating a sleeve that is removable. So you just want to apply some hot glue just onto the fabric. So as you can see, it's really easy to pull this off. Now I am adding the cone to the top of the lid, as you see here. And now I'm also going to be cutting down the sock. I am using a work sock, but use any sock that you can get your hands on. I am trimming it off, and then I am creating a little hat, and I like to fold up work socks, as you saw there, and that creates a little hat brim. It's really cute. Slip your sock over the cone, and then I am going to just tie it off on the top just to create like a fun little added pom-pom touch. I like to add a little bit of glue that'll help hold it into place, and then you can tie it off as you see here. So I'm just going to slip the hat up now and just glue the hat into place onto the foam cone, but I'm not completely adhering it down. This is just going to prevent it from slipping. I need to make my beard, so I am going to be using some yarn, but you could totally use some faux fur or whatever you'd like. I like to just wrap the yarn around my fingers, tie it off in one spot through the loops, and then cut through the loops, and you have a really fun and easy beard if you cannot get your hands on faux fur. So I'm going to be gluing this on the rim of our tin. You want to make sure you don't adhere it right onto that seam because we need to be able to access the treats inside. So glue that into place, and then I'm going to start to glue the rest of the hat onto the tin lid. You only want to glue it to the lid. Again, you want to make sure that this is removable. I'm just going to be using a little pom-pom for the nose. You could use a wood bead as well. Add some hot glue. And then for another little fun touch, I'm just going to add these bells to the hat. You could use any decorative elements that you like. So I thought it would be really fun to do a girl-themed gnome gift wrapping. So I got this bottle of bubble bath from my local dollar store. You could use a little bottle of champagne or any little fun drink. And you'll need a fun sock and some yarn. So here I am just making my hat, as you can see. I'm using the top portion of the sock for the hat. I always like to add just a little bit of hot glue. That just helps to hold it all together. And I decided to create a little fringe. So I just cut through the sock. It doesn't really matter how far apart, and you can see how it curls up and kind of creates a little bit of a pom-pom. So now I am going to need my yarn again, and I'm cutting, just a varied amount. This is completely up to you. I did 10 strands. You want to create a gather, and then you want to tie it in one spot as you see here. Trim off any of the ends as desired. I created 2 of those yarn clusters. So now I am just getting just a basic white ankle sock, and I'm going to use that to slip over the top of the bottle. And then I'm going to use some yarn, and I'm going to secure that around the top of the bottle. Now I'm not going to be using hot glue at this point. Again, you want this to be removable. Okay, so now it's time to assemble our girl gnome. I'm going to slip the hat over top of the bottle and just pull it down into place. And then I'm going to add the hair. Now I'm going to just be adding the hair to the inside of the hat. Remember, we want this to be removable, so I'm trying my best not to attach anything to the bottle sleeve that we created. So I just add some little bits of glue, and then as you can see here, I am adding the hair so it's more towards the front of our gnome face. Even though it doesn't really have a face, but we'll be putting a nose into place and then it'll look like it's got a face. Again, I'm going to just use some pom-poms. You can just use whatever color you'd like. And wood beads, again, make a great option as well. So again, I'm just going to add some hot glue to the inside of our hat rim and add the nose into place. Here I am using some pretty baker's twine that matches the nose, and this is just going to complete the hair. You'll want to trim off any of the excess at the bottom so that it doesn't creep underneath our bottle, so it sits properly and you got some cute little pigtails. I thought it would be fun just to add one last added detail. I got these stickers again from Dollar Tree, I believe it was last year, and I'm just going to place one on the body of our gnome. Add some little bells again. You could use some flowers, that would be really cute as well. And you got some really cute packaging for some treats or something special for anybody as a fun little gift. For this next gift idea, you're going to need to dig into your stash of papers. I have the measurements on the screen. You'll want to cut some papers down to size. These ones are coffee stained and it is cardstock. And I have got some watercolor paper as well, as we are going to be creating a really fun technique here. This is going to be perfect for those people who like to journal in your life. So I have got 2 colored cedar boughs, and you're going to need a hard surface and then a surface to protect. And you're going to want to lay out your branches onto your watercolor paper, and then you'll want to tape this into place. You could experiment a little. If you don't have cedar boughs, you could probably try some leaves as well. So next I have put my other piece of watercolor paper over top. And then I'm using a hammer and I'm going to start to smash it down. Now you want to be careful. You don't want to get your fingers in the way. But as you can see, the color from the cedar boughs is imprinting onto our watercolor paper, creating a really fun printing technique. I actually had so much fun doing this. It was so cool to do. So I just kept playing around until I got the desired look that I liked, and then you'll want to remove the tape and pull up your watercolor paper. So here I've got the tea stained or coffee stained paper, and I'm using this kind of rusty orange cedar bough, and look at that color and imprint that it made. This one turned out really good. I was really happy with this. Okay, so these are mini composition books that I picked up from Dollar Tree. It has the measurements on it for you, so that's where I got the sizes that I need to cut down my paper. So here's the selection of papers that I have done the cedar imprints, and I am going to be using this corner rounder because our composition book has rounded corners. You could use scissors by all means, or even a craft knife to trim it off. So I'm just going to continue to cut the paper down to size so it will fit over the cover of our books. So I'm using just a scrap piece of paper and I slip it underneath the cover of our little mini composition book, and that will protect the pages from underneath so I don't end up gluing things down. Now I'm going to be using tacky glue for this project. I really like tacky glue, and I'm just using a plastic card to spread the glue out all over the surface, and then you can place your paper on top and smooth it out with a bone folder. You'll want to do the exact same thing on the back cover. You're going to want to allow that to dry well. I always like to add a bit of weight to my projects. That helps prevent the papers from curling. You can see how well these have turned out so far. So these are a little bit too big, so I'm just, again, using my scissors to trim any of the excess paper down. And then we can start to decorate our covers. So for my little journals, I am going to be using a selection of some washi tape. I will be needing some glue, and I want to cover the spine. So I find that washi tape can lift, so that's why I'm applying a bit of glue. You can use any type of pattern you'd like. I've got this gold, and it's got like a little feather or like a fern pattern on it. I thought it was really pretty and matched the cedar really well. You'll want to burnish it down to make sure it sticks. And I did the same for all three. So now I'm just going to embellish the front, and I'm adding some layers of the washi tape. And this, again, you could just use stickers if you'd like. Just be really creative. I'm going for kind of more of a natural look for these. So I'm keeping all my washi tapes kind of neutral, but it definitely makes an impact. So I dug into my stash and I have these little paper butterflies, and I got these word stickers. I have the word stickers listed in my Amazon affiliate store if you can't find them in your local craft store. And then I've also got these butterflies. I bought these at Dollar Tree. I believe it was last year. I'm adhering these just with a bit of glue stick. You want to make sure you've got an extra strong glue stick for this. Then you can just find whatever words that you'd like. I kept mine kind of garden and nature themed. One thing I like to do is just highlight the words with some black ink. That just helps it to really pop. Look how fun these are. I loved how they turned out. So now to package them, I am just putting them all together. You can use some jute twine or raffia. I just stuck with the jute twine. I have a lot of it in my stash, so I thought it would be fun to use. And I'm just going to wrap these together. So I have this clear plastic bag. It's just like a treat bag. You can pick these up at any party supply store. And I place those little booklets inside, and I'm going to tie it off with some jute twine. And then I thought, for a really fun touch, I would create a tag with one of the larger butterflies from the butterfly set, paper set that I got from Dollar Tree. So just pick whatever one you'd like, and I am going to just add a hole punch, and then you can apply it onto the package. Aren't these really fun and unique? You could customize these any way you'd like. You could definitely use scrapbook paper if that's what you have in your stash. I am so happy with how these turned out. So this next project is a perpetual calendar. It is great to keep track of holidays as well as birthdays. I created my perpetual calendar in a Word document, but there are plenty of printables out there that are free to use. You just have to do a search. So I am cutting mine down to size, and it is going to be the same width as a board that I am going to be using. I have all my months cut down to the size that I need, and they fit perfectly onto my weathered board. In addition, you are going to need a binder clip, a nail, some twine, and a clothespin. Now I am going to be using this binder clip, and I'm going to gather all my papers together as you see here, attach the binder clip, and you want that top metal bracket to be pointing down and laying flat. Next, you are going to hammer the binder clip into place, and you're creating a hook. You need to be able to remove your calendar so you can pull the sheets off to reveal the new month. I also thought this would be really cool to use as a notepad holder. Now I am adding the jute twine and I'm just wrapping that around the bottom. That will help hold our papers into place and also give it a decorative, natural touch. I'm just wrapping some more jute twine around the top, again, just for a decorative touch. And that is it. This was such an easy project to put together. First gnome DIY, I'm going to be using this flour sack towel from Dollar Tree, and it has a cute little gnome on it. I'm going to be removing the tag from that, and then I am going to be gluing the top and bottom edges together. Today I'm just showing you how you can use some items from Dollar Tree and create some really simple and easy projects for gift giving. I absolutely love this tea towel, and I thought it would make a perfect gift for the gnome lover in your life. So now I'm going to be gluing one side panel together. Now I should have ironed this first. I do end up ironing the wrinkles out. It is a gift, so you want to make sure it looks nice. And then just continue to glue that one edge, leaving the other side open. All right, and now we're gonna stuff it full with some fiberfill. I like to use pillows from Walmart. It's really cheap fiberfill to get. And then once you've got it filled up the way you want, you're gonna glue the other edge together. And there you have a really quick and easy pillow and a beautiful gift for anyone to enjoy. I just love how this little pillow turned out. I think it is really, really nice and cute, and just have to put it in the dryer on fluff to clean it. Don't use any heat because you did use hot glue. Dollar Tree has come out with some really fun gnome products this year for the holiday season. I have found this mug and I'm going to stuff it full with some treats. And to add to that, we're going to make a really simple and easy sock gnome using socks from Dollar Tree. I have a kid's white ankle sock along with this kind of a fun little Scandinavian style sock. And I'm going to take one of those white socks and fill it up with some pebbles. I got these pebbles from Dollar Tree. Just going to partially fill the bottom. I'm now going to add the fiber fill that I got from Walmart. I'm going to go 3/4 of the way up. And then using a string, I'm going to tie it off. You could use an elastic, but I prefer to use some string. You're going to leave the top portion of the white sock intact. Now I'm going to be cutting the top portion of our pattern sock, and I am going to slip it over the top of our white sock. I'm just going to pull up the white portion of that sock. That's going to help keep our hat upright. I am now going to use string again to tie off the tip of our hat. So as you can see, the sock wants to roll up naturally, so I'm just going to glue that in place. That'll also help it from fraying. I have this piece of chunky yarn that I made into a beard. I had that in my stash. I'm going to glue that into place. I will list all my gnome DIYs down in my description box if you want to check out how I make all my different gnomes. I'm now going to glue the hat into place at the back side and then add some glue on the sides as well. I'm not gluing it to the beard just yet. First, you want to add your nose. I like to use wood beads. You can use a pom-pom as well. I'm just adding a bit of hot glue and I'm going to tuck it up underneath the sock. And then I'm adding a little dab of hot glue at the base. And then I'm just going to push a bit of the beard up into where the hole was and continue to trim and glue as needed. I like to embellish the hats of my gnomes, and I thought it would be fun to use these felt words from Dollar Tree. I'm just adding a little bit of hot glue and applying it to the hat. You can use anything you'd like, or you can even just leave it plain. Now to complete our gift, we're going to just put our gnome in on top of those treats and then wrap it up with some cellophane. I like to tie it off with some baker's twine, but use anything you'd like. This makes for a fun and unique gift for a teacher or a friend or anyone, even a hostess gift. It's quick and easy to do, and I know anybody would enjoy this whimsical gift. Let me know which gnome gift is your favorite. So I recently picked up these candles from Michael's. They had them on clearance, but I wanted to make them more personal, so I'm removing the label. I just peel off the top label, and then I went to my sink and I used some warm water to remove the paper layer, and then I used Goo Gone to remove the adhesive, and I washed it all off with some warm soapy water. So some embellishments I'm going to be using are some pine branches, pine cones, this cream colored lace, along with some jute twine. I'm just measuring a piece of lace to wrap around the top, and I'm going to glue this into place. You can use, of course, any trim that you like that you have on hand. This is where you could get really creative with decorating something as beautiful as a candle. So I'm just going to be wrapping some jute twine around the lace now. This is where you can just kind of play around and, of course, decorate this any way you'd like. I am going to be adding this little pine branch. I just trimmed a little bit off the backside and I'm adhering it with some hot glue. I do end up adding some more here in a bit. I just felt it needed just a wee bit more. And now I'm going to be adding these frosted pine cones that I picked up from Dollar Tree. They are so beautiful. Again, I'm just using some hot glue to attach them. So this is where I decided to add a few more sprigs of greenery. I just felt like the pine cones overpowered things a bit too much, so I thought if I added a little bit more greenery, it would help. Here I created a tag and I wrote the scent of the candle on the back side. I have a scallop punch in my stash, and so I just punched that out of scrapbook paper. Here I am attaching just another piece of jute twine, and I wrapped it around and then pulled the knot so it's underneath the cluster of greenery and pine cones, and then I'm going to tie on our little scent tag. You could create your own label and just write it and stick it on if you choose. I didn't bother to do that. I'm just adding a little bit of extra glue there because my cluster had lifted a little bit. Now I'm adding a bit more jute twine and I'm just creating a loopy bow. So for our next candle, I found this one at Dollar Tree. I decided to leave the label on the top because it has the scent as well as the fact that it's soy based. I have this lace curtain in my stash and I cut out 2 squares. One side is matte, the other side is shiny. I put the shiny side down and I offset the 2 pieces. I also went into my stash and I grabbed a selection of some trims, and I'm going to be using these pretty frosted pine cones again from Dollar Tree. So I'm just wrapping this candle up, as you can see here, gathering the lace, and then I'm going to just take one of my strands of trim and I'm going to tie it off just to help hold the gather together. Now I used 2 layers of lace because I didn't want the color to show through. So I'm also going to go in now and add my decorative trims, as you can see here. So I'm just going to fluff this up, and you can leave this as is, but I am going to go in and add these pretty pine cones. You could add some little sprigs of greenery as well. And that is it. This is such pretty packaging for such a pretty little gift. I love how both these candles turned out. I hope this has inspired you to think outside of the box to create some easy last-minute gift ideas. I would absolutely love to know what you thought and which one is your favorite by leaving me a comment down below. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Here is some more inspiration to the right, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.